We're jumping ahead in our science workbook, and I want you to turn to page 89, which is the start of Unit 3. We're going to be talking about plants and animals and how each of them have a life cycle. Just like, do humans have a life cycle?
Yes.
What do we all start out as?
A baby.
A baby. And then we grow up into adults. And then does everybody eventually end their life cycle?
Yes.
Yeah, which is exactly the same as plants and animals. All right, so looking at page 89, down at the bottom, do you see the I wonder where it says I wonder why?
Yes.
There's a question there. It says, why is this mantis shrimp these colors? Why do you think that shrimp is specifically those colors? Because that's how they decided to print that picture?
No.
Why would it be those colors then? What do you think?
Maybe because it's the type it is.
Okay, because of the type that it is.
Because they're a really colorful, like, animal that has a lot of different colors.
Okay.
Some animals have a lot of different colors and
Okay. Well, we'll find out in just a minute. But if you look above there, there's another mantis shrimp. Okay. And then the big idea for this whole unit is all living things go through a life cycle or through a cycle of growth. And living things have adaptations. Say adaptations.
adaptation.
That help them survive in their environments. Do you think those colors have something to do with helping it stay alive? To hide it?
No.
Have you ever heard of like camouflage?
Yeah.
Do you think that shrimp, maybe that's its way of camouflaging in some situations? I don't know, maybe so. All right, well, turn the page and let's look at page 90. Okay, do you see all the different lessons that we're going to be going through? Okay, there are 6 different lessons, and then there's a review after we're all done with that. The first lesson is about plant life cycles. The second lesson is about animal life cycles. Lesson 3 is how living things change, because we don't stay the same, do we?
No.
Do we change throughout our life? Okay, so do plants and animals. Fourth lesson is about structural adaptations. Wonder what that means. Structural. Are they talking about like houses and buildings? Do you think they mean that kind of structural?
No.
It'll be interesting to see what that one's about. The 5th lesson is how can we model a physical adaptation. Lesson 6 is behavioral adaptations. Think that has to do with the way a plant and animal behaves? Like, are they being nice or are they being naughty?
No.
Those kind of behaviorals? No. Then we'll see what the STEM activity is. I don't know if we'll do the one from the book or if I'll find something different for us to do, okay? And then we'll have the review. All right, so looking at lesson 1, it's the very next page. It's all green, basically, right there. It says lesson 1 in the top right-hand corner. It says, what are some plant life cycles? It says, engage your brain. Find the answer to the following question in this lesson and record it here. How is the hummingbird part of this plant's life cycle? That's something that we're going to be finding out as we go through this lesson. So we might not know it right now. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Absolutely. As we go through the lesson, there's going to be a lot of different vocabulary words that we talk about that have specifically to do with plant life cycles. And then we'll be comparing and contrasting, which means we're finding how things are alike, how things are different through those life cycles also. So starting out, let's start looking at lesson 1 on page 92. So, a plant's life cycle, the cycle of a plant's life. Cycle. If you think about, oh, my mask is driving me bonkers. If you think about like a bicycle, a motorcycle, a tricycle, they all have that cycle word in them. What does that mean? Cycle. Amy, what do you think? What do you think?
That it means like
Yeah, it keeps repeating. And if things keep repeating, does it kind of go in a circle? Over and over. Think about a bicycle wheel or a motorcycle wheel or a tricycle wheel. Do they go round and round and round and round and round and round and round?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just like a life cycle. Life cycle. Life cycle. Oh my gosh, I was thinking bicycle in my mind. So a life cycle keeps repeating. Is it the same person or the same animal or the same plant? The exact same one that keeps repeating? No. But are there always new plants growing? New baby animals being born? New humans being born? Okay. So, looking at 92, is that what we're on? Underneath the big yellow print up here, read this paragraph with me right underneath that. Mine's much smaller than yours, but do you see where I'm talking about on your page? Starts with most plants come.
Yeah.
Okay. Most plants come from seeds, but how? And where do seeds come from? It's all part of the life cycle of a plant. All right, so here's what we're going to do. As we read these 2 pages, we're going to find and underline. What are we going to do? Find and underline. Lost my spot. The definitions of life cycle, germinate, flower, reproduce, and cone. So friends, how many things will we be underlining? 5. The definitions, right, of those 5 things. The definition of life cycle, the definition of germinate, the definition of flower, reproduce, cone, those 5 things. Alrighty? So let's start out by reading that left side, still continuing down that left side. Let's read. Plants go through many stages in their lives. These stages form a cycle or pattern that repeats again and again. The stages an organism or living thing goes through during its life is its Life cycle. Ding, 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 ding. What do I need to do?
Underline.
I need to underline because life cycle was one of those words. I have to underline its definition. Now, it's the very last word in that sentence, so that means the definition is probably in front of that word, like above it in some of those sentences. So what would the definition of life cycle be? Nice and loud, Haley. What are you thinking?
That it repeats again and again.
Go down a little bit more. Just a smidge more. The stages an organism or living thing goes through during its life is its life cycle. So yes, that right there that Haley and I just figured out together, that's its definition. Do you see where she's talking about? What should you do then? Underline that. All right, let's look at the second paragraph. Most plants come from seeds. A seed germinates when it breaks open and a small plant grows out of it. Do we have to find the definition of germinate? Let me look back up above. Life cycle, germinate. Oh, germinate is one of them, isn't it? So the definition of germinate, okay, a seed germinates when it breaks open and a small plant grows out of it. Did you guys ever germinate seeds in like first or second grade? Did you plant beans?
Yeah. That was in first grade. Like, we didn't plant. Like, we planted. I think. Was it flowers? No, I think it was tomatoes. Yeah.
Was it tomatoes? Okay. All right, well, let's keep looking on. The plant grows into an adult, which forms flowers in some types of plants. A flower is the part of some plants that enables them to reproduce or make more plants similar to themselves. So what's a flower?
It's the part of some plants that enables them to.
And then what does reproduce mean then?
Or make more plants.
Make more plants similar to themselves. Okay, so that right there, underlining that whole sentence, a flower is part of some plants, or is the part of some plants that enables them to reproduce or make more plants similar to themselves. We just completed 2 of those vocabulary words. We got a 2-for-1 deal.
We just have one more to go.
Did you get that underlined, Lucas? Because you're looking like you're not with us. Okay, flowers can be colorful, dull. Do you know what dull means?
Yeah.
Kind of like boring colors, right? Not very colorful. Big or small. Plants have male parts and female parts that are involved in reproduction. All right, so let's look at this life cycle of a plant. Where does it start? Which one of those 4 parts does it start out as? Here, 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 here. Is it a seedling first? Is it an adult plant first? A fruit first? Or is it a seed first? Everybody?
Seed.
Yeah, it starts as a seed. So point to where it shows us seed. Okay, let's read about the seed. inside each seed is a plant in an early stage of its development. Because is there literally a plant inside there?
No.
No, but does it have the ability to become a plant? Okay. The hard outer covering of the seed protects it. Just like, think about your beans that you have. Do the beans have a covering on them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
If you take the covering off, it's white on the inside.
Yes, it is. Okay, so seeds have those outer coverings on them to protect the inside of it. These seeds will grow into large, what kind?
Beans.
Nope. In here, sorry, I'm back in the book.
Tomatoes.
Yeah, they're going to become tomato plants. All right, after it's a seed, once it has been planted, you know, in soil or in some dirt, what is it called when it starts to sprout?
A seedling.
A seedling. So when a seed is watered, it begins to germinate. That means it's starting to grow, okay? A seedling is the tiny new plant that comes out of the seed. So it's not a baby plant, is it? What is it really called? A seedling, yes. From a seedling, then what does it go to? An adult plant. So the seedling grows into an adult plant. The adult tomato plant makes flowers. Have you ever seen that on a tomato plant before? What do those flowers then turn into?
Tomatoes.
They do, yes. Okay, so the flowers start to grow. In flowering plants, seeds are produced in the flowers. So we had the seed that we planted, and then more seeds start to grow where? In the flower. And then that flower has that seed in it, and what does that turn into? What does the flower turn into eventually?
The tomato.
The tomato, which a tomato happens to be a fruit. Okay, so that's why they say they have fruit next on this life cycle. It says the flowers fall off the plant and the plant makes fruit. Then the fruit holds the seeds, right? It's full of seeds, isn't it?
Yeah.
Think about like a strawberry plant. Where are the seeds?
On the outside.
They're on the outside. What about blueberries? Inside. Oranges?
Inside.
Okay. Let's look over on the right-hand side of page 93. It says circle one step in the cycle. It doesn't matter which one you choose. You could circle the seed, you could circle seedling, adult plant, or fruit. Circle one of those steps. It doesn't matter which one you circle. Did you get it circled?
Yep.
Okay. Now, let's pretend that step of the life cycle of this tomato plant was removed. Would that affect how that plant grows?
Yes.
Okay, so how many of you circled seed? Anybody circle seed? All right, if you removed that step of the life cycle, what's going to happen? Is anything going to grow?
No.
No. All right, what if there was no seedling? step? What if we removed the seedling step? What's going to happen?
There's no adult plant.
There would be no adult plant. Would there be fruit
No.
or vegetables?
No.
No. What if we removed the adult plant step in this life cycle?
Everybody did adult plant except for Jenny.
What if we removed that though? What's going to happen? There's still going to be no fruit or vegetable. What if we removed the fruit or the vegetable? There's not going to be seeds. There would be no seeds to replant. Okay, so taking out one of those steps, does it affect the whole life cycle?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so think about which one you circled. If that were removed, tell how it would affect that plant's life cycle. We talked about it, now write it down. Okay, there's one more part on page 93 that we're going to finish before we go out for recess, because there's still one more word that we have to underline the definition for. And that word is cone. Ice cream cone?
No.
Oh, not that kind of cone? All right, well, let's read about the kind of cone they're talking about on 93. Some plants make seeds without flowers. Their seeds form in cones. What kind of cone is this specifically? A pine cone. Listen to see if you can figure out what the definition for cone is. Cones are the parts of some seed plants where reproduction occurs. Did you figure out the definition?
Yep.
What is it? Cones are the parts of some seed plants where reproduction occurs. All right. Unlike flowers, cones do not develop into fruit. This pine cone has seeds in it that will grow into new pine trees. Okay. Do we have pine trees around here?
Yes.
Yeah. Do we see pine cones a lot? Where do we typically see them?
In yards or under trees.
Yeah,
We see them pretty much everywhere.
exactly. Okay, here's what I want you to do. Close your science workbook. Put it back in your crate. And then let's get lined up.